Hi and welcome to Math Plus Everything Journey. Today we're going to do a multi-step Pythagorean. Before I start, if you do not remember how to do a Pythagorean theorem, I have a video. You could go and search for the video, or I'll put the video link in the description where you'll see how to solve with one figure. When you only have one figure, now you're going to see how it's solved when you have two figures. Before I go on, please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Tell a friend of a friend. And as usual, I thank you guys for your support. So let's get into this problem. It says solve for x. Leave your answer in the simplest radical form. So we have two right triangles here. We have one with leg 8 and the hypotenuse is 10. Remember, the hypotenuse is across from the right triangle. That is your hypotenuse. Right, and then we have, I'm going to label this, I'm going to call this y. Then we have this right here with your leg x, and the other leg is 5, and your hypotenuse is y. Because I don't know what this leg is, what value this is, or what value this y is on a small one or the bottom one, I'm going to start from my top because I already have one leg, which is 8, and I also have my hypotenuse, which is the longest side, and also the side across from the right angle. So it's 10. So I am going to set out. So you know that the Pythagorean theorem says a squared plus b squared equal to c squared. So I'm going to start out with my y. So I'm going to call this y. My y squared plus, I'm going to call this my b, which is 8 squared. And that's going to be equal to my c squared, which is my 10 squared. So again, if you're confused where this y is, this side of the leg, I name it y. And then the leg number 2, and then your hypotenuse. All I did was just have my formula, which is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And all I do is plug in my a squared. I substituted with my y. My b squared, I substituted my 8, and my c squared for the 10. So let's go ahead and solve this. So I have y squared plus, we know 8 times 8 is 64. 8 squared is 8 times 8, and that's going to be 64. And we know 10 squared is 10 times 10, and that's going to be 100. Now we get to here. If you know how to solve a linear equation, you're good to solve this. If not, I'm going to do it step by step. I have y squared plus 64 is equal to 100. I want to get y by itself because I want to find out what this leg is, but I have a y squared. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do an inverse. I have a plus 64, so in order to have my y squared by itself, I am going to minus 64, but not only from one side, but from both sides of the equation, right? So you have to, whatever you do to one side of the equation, you have to do it to both sides of the equation, right? So now I have my y squared. I'm not ready for it yet. The plus 64 and the minus 64, they cancel out. You have two different sign with the same number, they cancel out, that's 0. And then I have my equal 100 minus 64, and that's going to give me 36. I'm not done yet because now I have a y squared and I need a y by itself. So what I'm going to do, I am going to square root both sides. So I'm going to square root my y squared so that the squares cancels out. And also I'm going to square root my 64. What you do to one side of the equation, you must do to the other side of the equation. So my squares cancels out, so that's leaving me with y. And that's equal to the square root of 36 is 6. So this is for the large triangle. So we know our y is equal to 6. So now that we know that our y is equal to 6, for the top we have our 2 leg, and then we have our hypotenuse. So now this is easier to solve this portion, the bottom portion. So now the bottom portion, we're gonna start here. I'm gonna need space here, so I'm gonna shorten this hypotenuse. Right? So for this space, now I know for the bottom one, I have my leg, I have my hypotenuse, and I have my other leg. So again, this is for the bottom. Right? So I know I have my a squared plus my b squared is equal my c squared. That's why Pythagoras says, right? So what's my a squared? My a squared is x plus, oops. So I have my x squared plus 5 squared, and that's going to be equal to 6 squared. Remember my hypotenuse, y is equal to 6. When we get y is equal to 6, when we solve this for the large, we get the y is equal to 6. Why did I fumble just now? So now we're going to do the same thing, and we're going to find x. So we're going to bring x squared back down because we're not ready for it. We know 5 squared is 5 times 5, and we know that's 5 times 5 is 25. Plus 6 squared is 6 times 6, and 6 times 6 is equal to 36. So now we have x squared plus 25 is equal to 36. We could go ahead and solve. We could use the inverse or the opposite. So I am going to minus 25 from both sides. Minus 25 from both sides of the equation. So I'm going to bring back my x squared because I am not ready for it. The 25 cancel, plus 25 and minus 25, that's 0. It cancels out. My equal sign, and I have 36 and I have minus 25. So that's going to be equal to 11. Now I am back here. It says x squared is equal to 11. So we want x by itself. So in order to get x by itself, we're going to square root both sides. So I'm going to square root x squared, and I'm going to square root 11. So therefore, when I square root x squared, the squares cancels out, leave me with x, and x is equal to radical 11. I am going to leave this as, so this is your x. So when we come back, we said our x is equal to radical 11. So that completes, and we have simplified. We solve for our x, we find our x, and our x is radical 11. Again, remember when you have this, you just gotta, you just pull the two triangles out. You pull one out, you pull the other one out. When you solve it, the first one has the one leg and a hypotenuse, so it's easier to sign. The second one did not have one leg and it did not have a hypotenuse, only one leg available. So therefore you have to solve the top one in order to find the second leg, or in this case the hypotenuse, and then you solve. There you have it. Thank you again. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, and I'll be posting more videos. Thank you as usual for your support. I appreciate all of you. Thanks.